Hey, what's up everybody? Today we're going to take a look at a deep water tow foil start. There's basically two different types of starts depending on the type of board you're using, high volume or low volume. 80% of the start is identical. However, with the high volume board, the very first step has to be done a little different because it's much harder to control that board underwater and to get it to sink and get it below your feet. Today, we're gonna focus on a low volume, deep water tow foil start. I would actually recommend, if you're a noob, then you start with a low volume board. It's going to be easier to control in the water, better for your first time getting up behind a powerboat or jet ski. First thing you're going to want to do is get that board below the water. You're going to want to sink it, and you're going to want to get your feet on it in a nice comfortable stance, kind of the same stance you'd be using when you're above the water. You want to be able to sit calmly in the water with that board below your feet. Just control it, feel it, be comfortable. Just calmly sitting in the water with the board sunk and below your feet. You should be able to sit there as long as you want, really, and have no issue controlling that board. Next, you're going to get that handle, and this is where you're going to start relying a little bit more on a good driver who understands what they're doing. And once you get that handle, you're going to want that driver to get the boat in gear. So that means basically just idling forward, and this will allow you to kind of get your whole body in position. As the boat starts idling forward, now they're not speeding up, they're not trying to get you on top of the water. The boat is simply engaged, moving forward, and you're going to be very slowly moving through the water. The thing you need to keep in your mind and keep clear throughout this process is the boat is doing the work. The rider does not need to work hard. Let the boat do all the work. So that means when the driver engages the boat and you're idling forward, you're going to want to get your body in the correct position. That position means arms straight. Even if your arms aren't perfectly straight, that's okay. But you don't want tension in your arms. You don't want to be pulling that handle into your chest. You want your arms relatively straight out in front of you. You're really just hanging onto the handle. You're not pulling with your arms. You want your knees bent. As you start to feel that pressure on the bottom of the board, everyone's tendency is to start to resist and push back on the pressure that they feel building from moving through the water and being towed by the boat. But what you're going to need to do, resist that urge and completely let the pressure of the water start to fold your legs up. So as you feel that pressure, rather than pushing against it, you're going to want to just let it push the board right into you. And that means bending your knees. A great way to think about it is try to bend your knees so your heels will actually be touching your bum. So your heels are going to come right into your bum, which is going to fold your knees right up. Arms are going to be straight. As the boat starts to engage and speed up, you're going to maintain that position. You're not going to try and stand up. You're not going to pull with your arms. You're going to just let the boat do all the work. One thing that's a little bit counterintuitive in getting up on a foil board for the first time behind a boat, you're going to have a natural urge to put a lot of weight on your back foot. Even if your knees are bent, you're still going to have a tendency to shift all your weight onto your back foot. You can't do that. The foil board, that's going to be a deal breaker right away. As you start to speed up, you want to keep it in complete control, and how you do that is by not allowing the foil to engage. It's kind of a bit of a balancing act. This might be the hardest part, in my opinion, about understanding the deep water start. You got to keep enough weight on your front foot so that the board is allowed to kind of rise to the surface of the water without letting the board get away. 50-50, your weight evenly distributed 50-50, that should theoretically work. You almost have to think about putting it 60-40 on your front foot, putting more weight on your front foot, just because people really have a strong tendency to put too much weight on their back foot and end up shooting that board up in the air. The second the board breaches the water, the foil engages and people tend to lose control. At this point, timing and patience becomes really important. As you start to feel that pressure building on the bottom of the board from moving through the water, a lot of people have a tendency to try and stand up right away. It's important to maintain your body position with your knees bent, ideally with your heels right in, touching your bum, and your arms straight. Maintain this position until you're actually gliding above the water. Once you're above the water, You can then begin to stand up while maintaining your balance and keeping enough weight on your front foot to keep the board on the surface of the water without the foil engaging and the board beginning to rise. If the foil is engaging while you're trying to get up and the board is rising above the water, then you have too much weight on your back foot and you need to continue putting more and more weight on your front foot until you can keep the board in the water while you're doing a deep water start. Once you're riding on the surface of the water, that's when you stand up. It's important to continue to maintain that weight on your front foot until you're ready for the foil to engage. Then you can begin shifting some weight on your back foot, allowing that foil to engage and letting the board rise above the water. Also important not to begin edging at this point. Break things down one step at a time. Keep the board moving the same direction as the boat. Allow yourself to get control of the board before you start edging, changing directions. You want to start outside the wake and outside the prop wash. You don't want to start in a place where there's additional turbulence and obstacles that are going to make this start any harder. For anything else, leave a comment, leave a like. Love to hear from you. If there's more questions, I'll do my best to answer all of them. Thanks for watching. Hope that helps. Check out the details section for more information to ride with us in Costa Rica.